If in Bitcoin, that inflation gets sold on the market to pay for electricity. In HEX, if you're an average length, average size staker, there is no inflation to you because you're the one getting paid the inflation. So it's actually 0% inflation for you if you're an average length, average size staker. The only people that are actually diluted by inflation in the HEX system are the people that don't stake. And that's how the virtual lending works. And in a system like, let's say Compound, someone takes out a loan and they pay an APY for that, and that APY becomes someone else's yield. In HEX, you're not taking out a loan, but you're being diluted if you're not staked. The value of your ownership of the system is being diluted by other people's rewards that they're getting for staking and that you're not getting. And when they stake, they burn their coins, which rises the market value. And so what you have is the people that stake are lending virtually value through supply and demand curve. They're reducing the supply, which increases the value of the person that can sell, the person that's not staked, like an indirect value transfer. And then that person can harvest that value. But while he's holding those coins and not like selling them, he's paying for that privilege because he's being diluted. He's getting less of a percentage of the system. So it's actually virtual lending without people being liquidated. You can't get liquidated. If you go onto a platform and you put up a deposit and you don't maintain 115% collateralization, your ass will get liquidated, right? So like as soon as you hit 114, a bot is going to come along and liquidate you. Yeah.
Just to kind of build that, Richard, from my understanding that I've always seen from HEX, I understand you make the analogy of like the like time deposits or CDs in this case.
There's some things in common.
I think in that case, the system that you've kind of replaced is traditionally, whereas, for example, a bank, you would lock up your money because there's a time fixed on the deposit. In this case, they're able to go out and maybe, for example, lend it out for a long period of time, make, in this case, interest on that money, and therefore they're going to pay at a higher interest rate than a savings account where someone can move in and out.
Yep.
In this case, what you guys have basically built is a system where, at the same time, in this case, you do have the inflows of value from people coming into the system, being hopefully at the end of it kind of the rewarding system for those who might be, again, getting out of the system later on. Is that correct? Well, it's because you're not really putting the money to it, again, unlike a traditional lending system where that money is going into credit markets and debt. In this case, it's more just a circulating system.
This is a super common misconception. When people deposit money into banks, it goes on the bank's, the non-asset side, the liability side. So when you deposit money in a bank, now they have a liability. They owe you that money. They don't actually lend your money out. Your money just sits there. What they do is they use the fact that you deposited as an excuse to get free money from the government. And the government just says, you can get as much free money from us as you want. However, you need to have this ratio of deposits sitting in your bank. And so when you deposit money at the bank, your money doesn't actually get lent out. The government's money gets lent out. Your money just gets used as an excuse to get the free money from the government. And that's an important difference because people go, oh, well, where does the money come from? It just comes from inflating it out of thin air. That's where the dollars come from. And in cryptocurrency systems, it also comes from inflating it out of thin air. Bitcoin is up 1.3 million X right now, and it went hyperinflationary from 0 coins to 18 million coins in 10 years. Well, how do you get from 0 to 18 million in 10 years? You inflate like fuck. And in the early days, Bitcoin's inflation was thousands of percent annualized in the early days. HEX gets rid of that phase, which took a long time for Bitcoin to get over with. We get to get it over with in the first year and jump right to Bitcoin's year 10 state where it did 20,000, where its inflation rate was about 3.89. And we target a max of 3.69. It's actually far lower than that because it's delayed. So these people, they only get it at the end of their stake, and the average stake is 4.3 years long. So you're not even going to see 3.69 inflation for a good while until those stakes come out. So you're going to see less.
All, Richard, above all, I get your point completely on that. I'm not there to per se, Chris. I was just saying more than anything, I guess the major difference from like with HEX as a project compared to maybe to a traditional CD in this case is that the capital in this system that you've built, and as I'm just trying to understand the system, it's not exiting outside of the system, it's staying inside HEX, and it's really about, again, being able to build a sustaining model in this case for people to be able to put away money, get some form of yield in this case, so long as HEX is, again, getting some general traffic over time. Yeah.
The biggest difference between this and a normal CD is that people that buy normal CDs are risk averse. And if you buy HEX, you are going to have volatility.
And that's the dynamic of HEX's price in this case is the increased volatility.
Yeah. And that's the idea. Do you want to, HEX is up 11,500% right now from January 5th. Do you think HEX could be up 11,500% if it did the shit normal banks do? No, we have to do things better and different to get you a 116x return instead of a 5% return. And Dips are actually how people make money in crypto, but people don't realize that. In crypto, when you have a closed system, when people lose money, where did it go? Somebody else made that money. So when people come along and buy Bitcoin at 20,000 and then sell it at 3,000, somebody made that money. So this truth engine of getting people to declare how long they're going to stake for and then penalizing them if they don't, and showing all the trades online, you can see when people bought, when they sold, who made money, who lost money. You can see who's taking out loans, right? Because it's all on Ethereum. There's no like anonymity in there, unless you force it to happen with like Tornado.cash. So all of that transparency and all of that openness, it gives people the opportunity to fuck up and wreck themselves and make somebody else rich. So if you want to buy a top and sell a bottom, you have that opportunity and you're going to make someone else rich. If you want to emergency end stake and not do what you said you would and stay staked as long as you would, you have the opportunity to nuke your account. In crypto, if you send your coins directly to the contract address, they're gone. Some guy just sent $1 million to the AAVA contract address. It's gone.
Yeah,
it's over.
They did that. It was with Sushi as well. I think someone from Gate Exchange or something said 400,000. Yeah, 400,000 Tether, and I was like,
I think they did it again. I think they sent another 200,000 or something. I think they did it twice, or maybe the 400 was split across two. So in crypto, you have the opportunity to nuke yourself, and someone else is going to benefit from that. And we declare these things openly. HEX is the only website in the world that talks about crypto going to zero on the homepage. This shit goes to zero, it flash crashes to zero, and that ride from a penny to $20,000, the price dropped 75, 85% 3 times. You got to be ready for that. We're the most, if you go to bitcoin.org, they don't talk about the price. If you go to ethereum.org, they don't talk about the volatility. They don't talk about the rollback. We talk about this shit on the homepage. It's the most honest website in crypto. And then people, they try and demonize us because they don't talk about price because they're better than us. When really the only thing anyone cares about is the price. And they hide it. And then you're like, hey guys, there is a better way. You could just tell the fucking truth. You designed it to pump. That's why you put the halvening in there. You're still trying to make it pump with coin burning and lockups. Business design is causing things to accrue value. That's what a business is. A business accrues value for its shareholders. If you're not okay with accruing value, then you're not okay with business, then you're not okay with capitalism, then you suck. It's really that easy. Designing things to appreciate value is beautiful. You think Ferrari designs its cars to fall apart and go to shit? No, they design them to be beautiful and hold their value, and they put limited fucking numbers on them. And they purposely limit things to make them more value. Building things of value is a beautiful endeavor, and I don't think people should feel bad about doing it. But apparently, some people do. You talk about price on your website, you're evil, apparently.
Yeah, well, Richard, above all, man, I'm interested.